Reggae Interviews. Word sound power.
This is Reggae Interviews here, live and direct in Kingston, Jamaica, alongside an artist that we met first around about 10 years ago at Penthouse Records. He has just released his latest album, Born to be Free, with producer Donovan Germain. How are we doing today, Esco?
I'm doing very well. Nice meeting you, man. It's been so long. 10 years ago.
It has been a long while.
Yeah. Now I want to use this opportunity to big you up for what you've been doing for the industry and for fellow artists and for myself. You know what I mean?
We give thanks each and every time because, you know, we have a love for the music and this is why we do what we do.
Yeah, for real. Big up yourself.
Yeah,
man.
Wow, 2024. I need to start by congratulating you on your latest JUNO nomination, Reggae Recording of the Year.
Yeah, when it's a JUNO Award sometimes because I wasn't familiar with the JUNO Awards until I migrated to Canada, you know what I mean? I realized this year is, I believe, the 53 years of the JUNO Award. In case it's way before I was born. I'm 42 years old. You know what I mean? So to migrate to Canada from Jamaica, from Manchester, and won 5 and nominated 14 times, it's really amazing. And it's also amazing because the message is positive and the music is organic, you know what I mean? And it's the people's music, reggae music. Yeah.
The song that you're nominated for this year in 2024 is a song that you recorded for the Festival Song Competition last year in 2023, a song called Feel Like Home.
Yeah, Feel Like Home. You know, I actually written that song for the album.
Okay.
You know what I mean, initially. Because that song, whenever you live abroad or you know Jamaica is our home. So wherever you live apart from Jamaica is your home away from home. It's just a sense of joy, the sense of pride when you reach to Jamaica, or even when you're abroad and you see Usain Bolt run across the finish line to hear a Bob Marley song, you know what I mean? So that's what that song is all about, Feel Like Home, and that's what inspired the song. You know what I mean? Coming back to Jamaica each time, seeing the same mango tree, seeing the same ball ground. I used to play football and the same friends, and that's what inspired that song. You know what I mean? And I written it last year and entered for the JCDC competition, and it came up third. You know what I mean? And I give thanks. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
And two other people that you're closely associated with were in first and second place, Sugar and Slash. So there was almost like a Penthouse Records connection to the winning 1, 2 and 3 entries.
Yes, I think it's the first in history that ever happened too.
Wow.
So big up Penthouse Records, you know what I mean? Number 1, 2 and 3. You cannot ask for more, you know what I mean?
True. Now, you just touched on the fact that you have been the winner of the JUNO Award 5 times, 2012, 13, 14, 15 and 17. There might be some of our viewers today at Reggae Interviews here that may not be familiar with what the JUNO Awards are. Just share a little insight into what are the JUNO Awards.
Well, I wouldn't blame them if they don't know what the JUNO is, because that's what I didn't know much about it until I actually migrated. Because I used to watch it on the TV when I just moved to Canada. I used to see the Shania Twain, the Celine Dion, and you know what I mean. I used to think that it's probably a white award. I didn't know that there was a place for me. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
For my music. You know what I mean? Because I only used to see probably Cardinal Official.
Yes.
As a person of color and there and chaos. So it's only when I won my first JUNO Award in 2012 and I actually attended, that's when I realized that when I saw the reaction of people, you know, when they won it, and it's kind of the biggest music honor. You know what I mean? This is kind of the biggest music honor. So you know, in England you guys have the MOBO.
Yes.
Yeah, in America you have the Grammys. In Canada you have the JUNO Awards. You know what I mean? And it's a big deal. I'm telling you, like it's before I was born. So I don't need to say more. You know what I mean? So it's a big deal. Yeah, man.
You must have a really sort of a strong sense of accomplishment being nominated 14 times, as you said, and also being the recipient of the award 5 times.
Yeah, I think I'm the only artist in the reggae category, or in most category, who have won 5 JUNO Awards. And I mean, and I've won 3 consecutively.
Yes.
So I'm down in history for doing that also. You know what I mean? And I have, like, for instance, perfect example. I have a friend in Canada. He's a top producer, like he produced a Warner Music and thing. He only won 1 JUNO Award in 1993. So each time he come to my studio, he'd be like, man, I get, you know what I mean?
What's the secret formula?
Yeah. But as I said, to me, winning a JUNO, just to be nominated, you know what I mean, it's precious to me for a country boy from Manchester, and who migrated to strange lands, you know what I mean, and singing reggae music and staying true to your dreams. So just to be nominated it's important to
Important.
me. Yeah.
True. Now, as you sort of mentioned that you were born in Manchester and then at a younger age you migrated to Canada, and over there since then I think you've been going back and forth. So there's many times when I know that you'll be here in Jamaica creating music, but then you'll also spend time over in Canada as well.
Yes, because 75% of my recording is with Penthouse Records, you know what I mean? Because I was introduced to Donovan Germain by Stephenson.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Somewhere around 2012, 2013 there, you know what I mean? So 75% of my recording has been with Donovan Germain. You know what I mean? In Canada now, I produce, I have a certificate in music production, likewise I have my own band. So we still do our thing in Canada, you know what I mean? And I want to big up Silly Walks too.
True.
From your side of the world, you know what I mean?
Yes,
They have been tremendous. Exco Levi, I did an album for them, Narrative. So I'm giving thanks.
Okay, so as somebody that's there in spending your time mainly between Canada and Jamaica, you see obviously quite a lot of differences between the way that the music industries are set up in these two different countries. Do you think that there are things that the Jamaican and Canadian industries can learn from one another in terms of how they go about making music?
You know, Jamaica is the hub.
Okay.
This is the hub, you know what I mean? But not because Jamaica is the hub, it doesn't mean that great music is not prepared somewhere in the world. Because the thing about Canada is a multicultural country where you could come over with your food, you could come over with your music, your culture. You know what I mean? They allow that, you know what I mean? And so we in Canada, who live in Canada, we always have Jamaica as our base. You know what I mean? And we try to capture that same energy. And that organic music sound. You know what I mean? For instance, me, I have my band, the High Priest band. I try to play as much with my band. You know what I mean? So we don't lose nothing from this culture. And I remember the first time I came to England too. You know what I mean? Halls. Then I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? And then Japparangs was explaining to me that, Esco, listen, England is where the economical structure of reggae music started off. That's where music starts selling, you know what I mean? So not because you live in England or America, and once you're Jamaican, it's embedded in you, the reggae music, the culture and the roots, and we never lose that.
True.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The new album that's just been released, it's a 15-track album. The title of the album is Born to Be Free, and there's something really significant, I feel, on the actual front cover of the artwork, the Canadian flag.
Yes, it is very important because, I mean, as an independent artist, I remember when you do reggae music, conscious music, you know what I mean, there's not a lot of support for you in terms of media, and you know what I mean, because we are living in a vast industry where there is so much genres. And that's why I started off this interview by bigging you up for your contribution, because we need more outlets like people like you. You're the one who keep us relevant and keep the culture alive. Saying that to say, Canada has been a tremendous help towards reggae music in Canada, or music in a whole. I believe they contributed over $2 million every year towards the arts, you know what I mean, from festivals to reggae recording. And for the last 15 years, every project I venture in, I receive a help from the government of Canada, from Factor Canada, you know what I mean. So if you notice on the cover, I just put their logo there, because I'm grateful, because as an independent artist and as an indie, it's hard to fund, you know what I mean, your career in certain ways. So I give thanks to the government of Canada. Yeah, man.
So this is all through organisations like Factor Canada and the OMDC grant.
OMDC grants, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, man. So I give thanks to them, big them up, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, man.
This new album is the follow-up to the 2018 album Narrative that you did with Hamburg Silly Walks. What an album that was. But this new album, just share with our viewers today, what was the overall philosophy behind making this album?
Well, most of the song was recorded over the COVID period. You know what I mean? Some of the songs recorded in Canada, not recorded, prepared in Canada, because my band plays on some of the track in Canada, and then we just bring it to Penthouse, and you know what I mean? Because I still want to involve my band in the production likewise, you know what I mean? This album, I remember one time Donovan Germain said to me that my third album will be the album, you know what I mean? Because that's when you start learning things that you start to improve, you know what I mean, and evolve from your first and second album. So I think this album, Born to Be Free, is in the maturity stage, you know what I mean, where I learned so much about myself, my vocal, my range, you know what I mean, and even my songwriting skills, you know what I mean, has improved on this project. Yes. You know what I mean, so it's really amazing to see the growth, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I think when I've listened through to the album, it explores many sort of themes of liberation and freedom. And given that what you've just said, that a lot of the songwriting took place during that lockdown period, I think it all kind of like the piece of the jigsaw fit together with what our viewers are listening to and hearing from the new album.
Yeah, because there's not much music out there that is awakening the sleeping consciousness of the masses, you know what I mean? And in a time like this, when there's war and rumors are war all over the world, nation against nation, brother, you need the reggae music, the message music, you know what I mean? So we try to stay true to that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna bless up Donovan Germain too, who always insists that we stick with the roots and stick with the culture of this beautiful music that we have, you know what I mean? And even though we might not play on the radio or be number one, but somewhere out there, people love the culture and love the roots and love the message, and we cater for those people and just bringing others on board. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Now, Donovan Germain, he has been one of the elders in our music industry. He's been making music for so many years through Revolutionary Sounds and, of course, the Penthouse recording label. One thing that I've always noticed with Germain's productions is the quality control is to the highest levels.
And me and him was having this conversation last week. I was telling him that I remember that when I just went to Penthouse, he told me that, listen, you're gonna sing some song for Penthouse. You're not gonna hear it every day on the radio, but somewhere out there in the world, you know what I mean? It has been played and it has been appreciated. And I remember doing a show in Zurich, you know what I mean? And the promoter was like, listen, the only reason why you're on my show is the affiliation with Penthouse Records, because from 1976, I could walk into a record store and I could take up a Penthouse record, know that it's of quality.
It's of quality, right?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to shed some light on what you just said, you know what I mean, about the staying true to the consciousness and staying true to the quality of this beautiful music that we have, you know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, I would definitely agree or second that, because as a vinyl selector, sort of back in the 90s, you go to a record store and as soon as you see the yellow Penthouse label on the wall, you don't need to listen to the song.
No, that's the same thing the guy told me in Zurich. He said, listen, just take it up.
Yep.
Because I know that it's something good and it's of quality.
It's of quality.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You first started working with Germain via an introduction through Richie Stephens.
Yeah.
Back then, we had lots of other artists, including people like Sugar, RC. There was like this whole kind of like vibe amongst the artists back then. Do we still see that now? Because I feel that we're sort of like in a different musical landscape where a lot of artists tend to sort of, do a lot of their work from the home studios and things. Do we still have that sort of like that collaborative effort when artists sort of vibe together in studios?
I think we still have it at Penthouse now, because even though I might not be in Jamaica 365 days of the year, whenever we come here, I could go to the studio, I could still see Slash there,
yes,
the Image, Rummy and come by. I think Penthouse Record is an academy, you know what I mean? It's more than just a studio, you know what I mean? You learn so much there, you know what I mean? So I think that bond will remain at Penthouse, regardless of how long I'm out of the country. Whenever I reach Jamaica and I reach a Penthouse, I would see the same artists them there. I would bond, you know what I mean? And if there's a writing session going on, we will involve ourselves, and you know what I mean. And even sometime in Canada, if I have a melody and I'm not sure about it, I would call artists from Penthouse likewise, you know what I mean, and just to make sure. So
together.
Yeah, so we still keep that bond, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
man.
On this new album, there's a few tracks that I've been drawn to instantly, and one of those was a song called One Life. What a big song that is. I'm telling you,
that song, listening back to the project for a couple months now, One Life, I think it sit wells with me, you know what I mean. I love all the songs, you know what I mean, because it's different message for different reason and different consciousness. However, One Life is one of those songs that when I wrote that song, I was going through a lot mentally, with family and, you know what I mean, and friends and kids, you know what I mean. So that's what that song is all about. Regardless of what's going on, you have to just appreciate that one life that you have, you know what I mean, because nothing else matters than just preserving and protecting that one life that you have. So that's what that song is all about. And I even mentioned my kids in it too, you know what I mean. Like it's a really beautiful song. I love it. Man.
And I guess that the philosophy that you're sort of living your life by is literally that song.
Yes.
Tomorrow's promised to no one, so make the most of today.
Live it today. You know what I mean? There's only one life. You have to just live it today.
Yeah,
man.
And then in contrast to a song like One Life, we've got a song called Fine Tooth Comb. It's got like a really uplifting, kind of like almost like a ska kind of vibe to it as well.
Yeah, it's a ska song. I actually written that song driving from Canada to New York, because my cousin passed away and I was driving by myself. Because sometimes I just do some driving because I don't do like too much of a flying.
Okay.
And sometimes when I'm driving distant, there's a lot of things came up, and I was listening to an old Babandi. CD, you know what I mean? And that's how that song came about. And that song is actually a real story, because when I was growing up in Manchester, my grandfather used to comb my hair every morning, you know what I mean, to go to school. I never used to like it. You know, I never used to like it. I'm telling you, it's like the worst thing for me, you know what I mean? Right. So that's what that song is all about. It's titled Fine Tooth Comb. It's a beautiful song. Beautiful song. Yeah, man.
And I think one of the things that you really kind of like hit the spot on is the social commentary. When I look at a song like Frozen Heart, you kind of are in a very militant mood. It's like you wanted to get things off your chest.
Yeah. Frozen Heart though is a reggae funk song. And one of the beautiful thing about this album too, we have different style. You notice we were talking about Fine Tooth Comb, which is a ska song. This one now, Frozen Heart, is a reggae funk. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of social commentary there, talking about the system, talking about where we're at right now, what we can do to improve our life and unite the people more. And that's what that song is all about. Yeah.
I mean, I think I would definitely agree with you that there's quite a lot of diverse sort of like themes and rhythm sections on the album. And I guess a lot of this is really sort of like inspired from your upbringing in Manchester.
Yes. Growing up with my grandmother in Manchester, Miss Tiny Pate, may her soul rest in peace. You know what I mean? We never differ away from her teachings and our values, you know what I mean? And we just stay true to the consciousness.
Yeah. And I think that also your father was a selector in a local sound system as well, so that must have been a strong sense of inspiration and motivation as well.
Yes, because my dad is from Clarendon, my mom is from Manchester, which is a neighbouring parish. So when he was 15 years old, he used to DJ in a sound system.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? So that's how he reached to Manchester, and that's how he meet my mom. And he was only 15.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So as them said, chip don't fly far from the block. You know what I mean? So I guess it's an inbound concept for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
The album itself, you know, it like I said, it's got so many sort of like great songs on it, and I know that our viewers that are watching today are going to be checking out this new album. There is a classic Penthouse rhythm track on there as well, a single that's been released previously, a throwback to the 90s era. The rhythm was called The Saddest Day of My Life, or the Tonight Rhythm track.
Yes.
Big combination with Dwayne Stephenson. That's What She Loves.
Yes, beautiful song. I think that's the only love song on the album. You know what I mean? And Dwayne is a great artist. I remember the first time I'm hearing about Dwayne Stevens.
Okay.
It was this Indian girl I knew downtown Toronto. She was like to me, "Do you know Augustown?" I'm like, no. She's like, "How can you not know who Augustown is?" But sometimes there's so much music out there, you know what I mean? You're not gonna learn about all the songs in our timing, you know what I mean? And when she played that song, I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? So that's the first time hearing about Dwayne Stevens, and from then I started to in tune to his music. So to have him on the project is great for Exco Levi, you know what I mean? And I give thanks.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I think Dwayne's done so much over the years, and you know, the songwriting that he's done for other people, his own projects. You know, he's definitely a credit to our industry.
Yes, he's really a value to our industry, you know what I mean? And because I think he co-wrote Sugar Song that won second place too. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so big up Duane. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, other songs that sort of come into my mind as well, His Imperial Majesty, a song called White Squall.
Yeah, White Squall. That's we have Dan Carlos, and that is Dan Carlos have the original White Squall song.
Yes.
So we just did a remix, a sample with Dan Carlos, and we have 2 songs on the album with Dan Carlos samples, which is great. So bless up the legendary Dan Carlos. Yeah, man.
What was the inspiration behind using 2 rhythms made very, very, sort of popular by Don Carlos?
You see, because Dan Carlos have a unique sound.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And this is all about the sound. You know what I mean? And for the first time, I did a show with Dan Carlos last year in an R&B music festival in California there. And I'm listening to him on the stage. He have a sound that it's like how Brampton-based Levi have that unique sound that cannot be duplicated by nobody. I think Dan Carlos is one of those artists. If you listen to his older recordings, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what drew my attention and drew the love. You know what I mean? And we just decided that we were just gonna, try something, experiment with music, and it came out great. White Squall.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. There's another combination on the album. It's a song called Change Your Mind, and it features not 1 but 2 very special guests. Talk to the viewers about the collab.
Well, Change Your Mind, I produced that song. I actually make the beat on my live.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was on my IG live one night, just messing around, and I ended up making the beat. And when I made the beat, the song came to me, and I sent it to Charly Black. I was kind of iffy, like, man, wonder if he's gonna like it. And the next day he replied to me and told me that he really loved it, you know what I mean? And he voiced on it, and we just add Specs. You know, Specs is a very prominent, one of the biggest DJ in Canada, you know what I mean? Radio personality and everything. And we just add his vocal, because he have a hyper sound.
Yes.
So I produced that song, you know what I mean? And it's a great song. And that song is a different vibe on the album also.
True.
Because it gave it this international feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that we can definitely see the growth, not just in your musical output, but in terms of other things that you're doing. When we sort of reflect back on the debut album, Countryman, we've seen so much growth over the last 10 years. I remember, I think, maybe around about 6 years ago, I'm sure you were learning to play the melodica as well.
Yes.
How is that going?
Good, because I've been playing the keyboard from church. And keys to go to the melodica is the same transition.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I incorporated in my set sometime with my band, you know what I mean, and different places. Because I have some shows that is roots show that requires that, and we just involve it, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I think that when I sort of reflect back on your musical career, your music has always been thought-provoking. Whenever we have a new single or a new project from Exco Levi, our viewers want to go out there and actually listen and study it, because you always talk something serious, something motivating, something uplifting.
Have to, because that's how I learn it, you know what I mean? From the first time I'm listening to Bob Marley on the radio and Peter Tosh and all those great icons, that's what I was driven to, you know what I mean? And knowing the type of person who I grew up as I said, from home, it is only natural for me to go down that path and never differ. Never.
So I'm guessing that the plans for 2024 obviously to try and be on the road touring with this album. Yeah. What are the plans? What's in store right now? Well,
right now I have some shows coming up in New Jersey, Washington DC. I have some shows in Canada also. I'm receiving some call from Scandinavia, Finland, and Norway. You know, so as I said, I'm just gonna go there. I want to come to England, man. I've been to England. Yeah, it's been a long time. So I think I probably come to England to spend a week, because there's a lot of radio station in England. You know what I mean? I have a lot of families there too. So I think I may probably come to England for a week to do some promo on this project.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
And if I was to ask you, is there one thing that you want your listeners to get from listening to this new album, Born to Be Free? What would that one thing be?
Well, that one thing is freedom doesn't always mean that you're free from chains and shackles, you know what I mean? Because you can be in bondage mentally, you know what I mean? And to me, the greatest freedom is a mental freedom, you know what I mean? And just there's a lot of people out there who you see they are still in bondage mentally, you know what I mean? And you know, your brain is the computer, your body. So if it's not free up, like for instance, if you have a laptop and there's so much things in it, it started moving slow. You know what I mean? So you have to just free up your computer and free up your brain, you know what I mean? Free up and come. Yeah, man.
I mean, I sometimes feel that, you know, certainly since the pandemic, you know, we're sort of like we've almost become almost like sort of like stuck to our devices, mobile phones, technology. And do you think that has a role to play with some of the mental bondage that some people are going through?
Yes, because I can be an example to that. When I was growing up in Manchester, you know what I mean, from 1981 till I was 20 years, we didn't have no cellular phone, you know what I mean? We didn't have no watch. We didn't have no electricity. You know what I mean? The rooster used to crow every morning at 6 o'clock and wake up my grandfather to go and catch a cane truck.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? The rooster used to crow 2 times a day, 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening when he's going on the roost. Now the rooster don't even know what time, all 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the rooster just crow, because even the rooster lost the sense of time.
Wow.
You know, that's what's going on. So I think the further away we're driven from nature, you know what I mean, is the more we are stressed and sick, you know what I mean, and we cannot operate. So to operate in this digital world, I always tell my cousin them, say, I don't think this digital world is for me. You know what I mean? There's so much things to do. And I mean, I was telling some friends yesterday, say, listen, if you're planning to migrate it overseas, make sure you learn to use the computer well.
Yes.
It's very important. That's utmost important, you know what I mean? Because most of these government entities that you have to deal with, the CRA and all the IRS, these people operate online. They're going to tell you that you have to go online to create something. And guess what? I can do it, but I don't like it. Because I wasn't grew up in that way. I grew up in an era where you just go to the bank and you pay your money, you collect your money, you have a bank book that you write it down. You know what I mean? You write down how much money is there and your balance. So for me to transition to this new world, it's hard for me. It's a challenge for me, and that is the reason why when I come to Jamaica, I feel so free. You know what I mean? Because when you're in Canada, I'm telling you, that's the worst part about Canada to me. Apart from the cold, is the digital part of things. I can't deal with it. You know what I mean? I cannot deal with it. So whenever I come to Jamaica, I feel like I'm on vacation. You know what I mean? I would rather go and stand in the line for 4 hours to get something done rather than to go on the laptop and try to remember passwords and wait. I cannot manage it. You know what I mean? So I think the digital world kind of differ the people away, the people mind. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I have to remind myself not to touch my phone until I pray.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? If I said, no, Esco, you don't pray yet, leave the phone. You know what I mean? Because the first thing come to your mind is to check your phone, who send you a message. You know what I mean? And the world is moving so fast, and people are not in tune to nature anymore. And that is the reason why in Indonesia and all those places, when the tsunami was coming, like an hour before the tsunami reached land, the birds and the bees and the flies and the dogs was heading away. And mankind was sitting down there on their phone. People was drinking. They not realized that the animal is moving away, you know what I mean? And too late shall be a cry. Yeah, man.
Well, look, Esco, I really want to give thanks to you for sharing some of your insights into this brand new album. It's out there on all platforms, and we're looking forward to seeing you over in Europe as well for some tours as well. So obviously I want people to check out your IG to keep up to date with where Exco Levi is going to be performing with the High Priest Band as well. Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers today about this album?
Yes, man, just remember, go and stream this album right now if you love roots, rock, reggae music, organic, undiluted, drum and bass from Jamaica, you know what I mean? Via Canada. You just go out and purchase this album, you know what I mean? It's a message of freedom, you know what I mean? It's a message of liberation, unification. I know we don't sing folly.
True.
You know what I mean? We don't sing folly. And we try to keep it conscious and keep it clean. And our music can be played in the home. You can be driving down the road with your kids. You don't have to mute anything, because there's nothing slacky-tidy, there's nothing degrading, there's nothing, you know what I mean? It's all consciousness. And that's what we represent, and that's what we'll stick to forever. You know what I mean? Bless up.
Bless up. Esco Levi, pleasure seeing you once again, my brother. We give thanks, respect.
Yeah, man, bless.
Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.